Hi YouTube, I'm Steven again. This is going to be a VR for Pacific Northwest Piper. Hi Hannah. Real quick, what I'm smoking today, I've got my Dr. Graybow. It's a Hillcrest. It's one of the first pipes I ever bought. I don't know how old it is, but I bought it at an antique store for about 15 bucks. I just love this old thing. It smokes great. In it is 3 nuns. Kind of like 3 nuns. It can be a bit harsh sometimes. You gotta kind of sip it, otherwise it can bite you a little bit. But it's got a good flavor. Anna asked a series of questions, and I'll go ahead and answer those. Starting with dry rub or barbecue sauce. And I'm going to have to go with dry rub. I think it imparts a better flavor on the meat, and you can always have barbecue sauce on the side. So I kind of like that. Once the sauce is on there, you can't unsauce it. So I'm going to go with dry rub on that. And as far as whether I make my own, I don't. I really don't make barbecue much, other than maybe some chicken occasionally. I tend to do steaks and hot dogs and brats and things on the grill, but I don't do a lot of barbecue. So I guess if I was going to do barbecue, I would be buying sauce. So the second question had to do whether if we were a sports fan. I'm not much of a sports fan. Obviously, if you've seen my other videos, I like cycling, so some track racing, things like that. You know, the Tour de France, of course, we all like that if we're into cycling. But I'm not much of a sports fan except for hockey. And I know, Hannah, you've mentioned hockey quite a few times. I have been a hockey dad since my kids could walk. They were skating by the time they were 3 or 4 years old. They started with roller hockey. We traveled all around the country. I think the farthest we went was Florida, Atlanta, Colorado. My youngest son won a national championship in St. Paul. We spent a week in St. Paul, Minnesota, and they won the national championship when they were about 8 years old. They both switched over to ice, and my older son played goalie pretty much his whole career, and finished up a senior in high school and did great. He played real well. He finished his high school career, and that was the end of his hockey career. I think he just finished, and that was the end of it. What I loved most about him playing goalie is so many parents had to volunteer for lots of different chores around the arena. I used to play goal judge behind the goalies because it's the best seat in the house, and I never once got to turn that red light on over my son. That was a big deal for me. So my youngest son moved away at 16 to pursue his hockey career. He went down to Kansas and played on a AAA team. Got drafted to the United States Hockey League. He played for the Green Bay Gamblers about 5 or 6 games, I believe, and then got traded to the Des Moines Buccaneers, and that's where I'm from, here in Des Moines. So he was a bit of a hometown hero, which, needless to say, his teammates didn't ever let him forget. He's since moved on to play Division I college hockey. He plays for the Western Michigan University Broncos. So, you know, my hockey dad career is not over yet. So that's as far as I go really for sports. Having kids that played a very competitive sport, you spend all your time traveling and things like that. And that goes right into question number 3. Hannah, you asked about travel. I've traveled pretty much around this country, camping and things as a kid. I've been to probably 2/3 of the states. With my bicycle, I like to bicycle camp. I mentioned that in one of my other videos. I love bike touring and being self-contained and carrying all your own camping gear. I spent a week on the Katy Trail. I did about 500 miles on the Katy Trail, which is down in Missouri, and camped the whole time and cooked all my food and had a great time. And here a few weeks ago, before it turned cool or cold, I did about 200 miles, hit some state parks north of where I live, and had a pretty good time with that. But really, my biggest trip is I went to the Mid East. I went to Dubai, and to cue the music theme from Love Story, and to quote Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting, I went to see about a girl. I met someone very special to me, and we we got to meet and see if things were what we thought they were, and they sure enough are. So that's a whole another set of videos. You'll be hearing something about our relationship and things as time goes on. The last question was, what do we geek out about? That was kind of a hard one for me, because I always mention, obviously, cycling, books, reading. We all talk about pipes and tobacco. But I think as I thought about it more and more, like I said, this was a harder question for me. But what I really kind of, and I'm not sure I'd call it geek out on it, but something that I love are old things. And not so much collecting antiques, although I have some of that sort of stuff, but things that are time worn and that have some age on them. It can be things around your house. Matter of fact, things like this pocket knife. I have carried this knife probably between 25 and 30 years. I use it every single day. The finish is all worn off of it, but I absolutely love it. It's one of my prized possessions. It goes everywhere I go. I've got some wooden bowls at home that I eat out of quite frequently. There's some food that just tastes better in these old wooden bowls of mine. Things like my cast iron pans, pots and pans, that I've had for years and years and years. They just get better with age. I've got an old coffee mug from Red Wing, Minnesota, the Red Wing Pottery Company. It's got a little crack in the side, but it works great. And that crack kind of reminds me of something that kind of ties this all together. There's a Japanese philosophy called wabi-sabi, and wabi-sabi has to do with perfection in imperfection. You have a teapot with a chip, or my mug with a crack, or something with a gouge, or something that's not quite round. Maybe it's warped a bit, but it's still useful. And I find great beauty in things like that. I think that's something that draws me to my books as well. You know, I love old books. I love the smell of an old book. So those are pretty much the things that I guess I geek out on. I like to collect and I like to keep near. So hopefully that answers your questions. Congratulations on your subs. I haven't checked, but I'm guessing you're quite a ways over 100 now. So keep it up. Keep up the videos. I really enjoy it. I did kind of miss you when you were gone down to LA. It's funny how this relationship we have with folks on YouTube, when someone's gone for a while, you actually kind of miss them. So that's a good thing. So anyway, take care, and I'll see you all again. Bye.